as it was in the days of Noah, so also will it be in the days of the Son of Man. People were eating, drinking.
Noah's flood is one of the best known Bible stories. But how does it relate to our lives today? And what does Novak Djokovic have in common with Noah from the Bible? In this episode, we look into these and other questions as we visit one of Hong Kong's biggest landmarks. You can see we're here at Quarry Bay Station. This is an MTR station in Hong Kong. And we'll be going from here to Central, connecting to a different line. The Tung Chung line will take us to Tsingyi. And over there, we can take a bus. It will take us very close to our destination of today, which is, of course, Noah's Ark. We're now at the connecting station, taking the Tung Chung line, and there may be a chance here to get a seat, as this is the first stop, and it will take us all the way to Tsingyi, where we'll be taking the connecting bus that will drop us off very close to Noah's Ark. Well, as expected, I managed to get a seat on this train. It's not nearly as crowded as the other one, and that's the only town really in Hong Kong where you can get a seat if you start at the first station, or if you travel on non-peak hours or not on the weekend. So this should be a slightly more comfortable journey than the previous one. So we're on the bus and about to depart to Noah's Ark. This will get us very close to our destination. Once we're there, it should be about a 5-minute walk to get to Noah's Ark. And once again, we managed to get a seat, so it should be a comfortable journey. We just got off the bus and you can immediately see the sign, Noah's Ark. And very interesting, right next to it, you can see some kind of food here, and I don't think that's the kind of food that Noah would have eaten when he got off the Ark. Looks like Egyptian food to me. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. At the entrance here, you can see this is where we're starting, and we're going to walk here to Noah's Ark. And it's rather cloudy and rainy today, so I'm not sure if we'll be able to explore the other parts, but if the weather improves, perhaps we can walk around. And there's a lot of interesting sites here to visit apart from Noah's Ark. Of course, that's the main attraction, but they have Tin Hau Temple, another Tin Hau Temple. There's a heritage center here as well, a study hall, and I also heard there's like a botanical organic garden. So perhaps we can visit that as well if the weather allows. So let's go inside and see what Noah's Ark is like. Apparently, this is the first one in the world that's been built to the full scale of the original biblical Ark of Noah. So apparently we were at the wrong entrance. We were at the staff entrance. And if you ever visit Noah's Ark, don't make the same mistake as us. But it's not very far. You just walk, it's about a minute. You walk down, you turn left, and then you get to the main entrance of Noah's Ark. And very interesting, on the other side here we have the fruit of the Spirit. You have love, goodness, patience, self-control, kindness, happiness. So that's some of the fruit of the Spirit that we read about in Galatians 5. So the second entrance that we showed you, that's actually if you have your own transport. But if you come by public transport, if you walk, you have to walk a little bit further to get to another ticket entrance. You can also book online like we did, and then you just show them the booking and they'll give you your tickets at the entrance here. So once you get through, you see planet Earth here and some beautiful deer and other animals in the back. So let's go and explore and see what is Noah's Ark like. So I'm right outside Noah's Ark, and you can see just how massive it is. Quite remarkable that the original one was built more than 4,000 years ago, before Noah's flood. It's quite something to see just how massive it is. So let's go inside and see what it looks like from the other side. As I'm standing here at the door of the ark, we can get a real idea of just how big it was. Large enough for elephants to go in there. Now some people might wonder, what about the dinosaurs? If we read in Genesis 7 and 8, it talks about clean and unclean animals. They were also confused species. In those days, people already experimented with genetic engineering, and something like a big dinosaur may have been the result of genetic engineering. So they were not on the ark, but the large animals, like these are Asian elephants, they could easily go through that door of the ark. And I can imagine once they got off the ark, how happy they must have been. So a very real good depiction here of the animals exiting the ark. So if you're ever in Hong Kong and you wonder, is it worth it to come here? I'd certainly say that it's worth a visit to come to Noah's Ark. Something very unique, and it brings the biblical account of Noah's Ark to life. Now we are in Noah's Ark, and behind me there's some replicas of animals, and also you can see some on TV screens. But if you look to the other side, there are some live animals here, some beautiful birds, lovebirds in here. And walk with me to this massive green iguana. You can get an idea of its size. It's probably much longer than my arm. Look at that, look how it's moving. It's agreeing, it's longer than my arm. And over here, there's some other lizards. This one is a bearded dragon. Look at the size of this one. Still quite impressive, but not anything compared to that iguana. This is a Philippine sailfin lizard. And over there in the corner, we even have a toucan. And this one is a toko toucan. Blue and gold macaws are native to Central and South America. They are known for bonding with humans, and as of 2025, there are 1 million blue and gold macaws living in captivity worldwide. Interestingly, males and females cannot be distinguished by their looks. In order to know which one is male, which one is female, you need to take DNA samples. As you can see from this display, Noah and his family had a healthy plant-based diet on the ark, as given in Genesis 1. It was only after they got out of the ark that it was permissible to eat animal products. But of course, one day on a new earth, where there will be no more dying, we will once again be on a plant-based diet. And even today, it's advisable to follow a plant-based diet, like Novak Djokovic and other famous people. And I can also testify about the benefits of a fully plant-based diet. Here I have a depiction of the dove that Noah sent out of the ark. And this must have been the second time when the dove returned with an olive branch, which today is seen as a symbol of hope. And if we look at the state of the world today, natural disasters, lawlessness, political unrest, we also get an olive branch and a promise of hope in Revelation 21, where he talks about a new earth for all of those who put their trust in the Lord. And we do not have to be in a state of despair, but can look forward to living on a new earth where we can have perfect lives. I'm standing here next to a depiction of a woolly mammoth. Just look at the size, over 3 meters. But of course, if we consider back in the times of Genesis, people were much, much taller than they are today. We are now facing the consequences of nearly 6,000 years of sin and degeneration. So people of Noah's generation would have been much taller than people of our generation. And of course, Adam and Eve, the original people, they are said to be double the size or double the height of average people today. Here he talks about the reasons why woolly mammoths are no longer seen today. And as you can see, there's a spelling mistake, which is very common here in Hong Kong. But nevertheless, I think it's a reasonable explanation that overhunting and climate change caused the extinction of these animals. And it says here 10,000 years later, which of course cannot be if we follow a biblical timeline. Elephants face the same fate today. Very, very sad how people hunt down these beautiful animals, and it's really something to look forward to live on a new earth where there will be no more hunting. And as we walk on, we can also see here the tusk of an African elephant. Gives you the idea of how big their tusks are. Next to the display of the elephant's tusk in Noah's Ark, there's a cinema showing an AI rendition of Noah's flood. It also explains the reason why God sent this flood, as we read in Genesis 6.
The Lord saw how great the wickedness of the human race had become on the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of the human heart was only evil all the time.
All people except Noah and his family perished in the flood. As we looked at various models of Noah's Ark outside the cinema, it reminded me of Matthew 24, where it says,
As it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the coming of the Son of Man. For in the days before the flood, people were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, up at the ark.
They have some fossil displays here, giant shell, and as you can see, there are various types of fossils here. This one, about the size of my hand. Now, the popular theory of evolution would claim that these are hundreds of millions of years old. But if we look at the flood account, the Bible account, these fossils are probably about 4,300 years old. And the evidence for a flood is much more convincing. The evidence for catastrophe, as the Bible describes, is far more believing than the popular theory of gradualism as they teach in evolution. So something to think about in our modern world, where most people reject the biblical account. Even Christians, many Christians, they talk about theistic evolution, but that completely negates the plan of salvation, because that means that death already existed prior to the creation of humans, and that cannot be if we look at the plan of salvation, where death is a consequence of sin. It's impossible that it could have existed prior to man's disobedience. As we exited Noah's Ark, I thought about what Noah and his family must have felt like after stepping onto dry land after being in the ark for more than a year. God rewarded their loyalty to him by sparing their lives. The ark's exit leads to a nearby restaurant, although we packed our own vegan food instead of having some of the restaurant's Egyptian food. So here they even have pet buses. If you want to send your dog to the airport, they can go with one of these buses from the airport to Noah's Ark or to Lychee Cock. So this is Noah's kitchen, or the kitchen near Noah's Ark, where we can get snacks and pizza combos. Although I'm not sure if any of this is biblical food. I don't think they had Cokes and bacon in Noah's time. Not very healthy. So, a bit ironic that they would have this in Noah's Ark. One display section in Noah's Ark talks about lost civilizations, but something much more important to consider is the lost planet that we live on. With the theory of evolution dominating contemporary thought and children being taught that everything evolved over many millions of years, the biblical account of a 6-day creation 6,000 years ago is negated. God created all land mammals on the 6th day, followed by humans. This, however, does not mean that humans are animals. The Bible makes this very clear in Genesis 1 and verse 27, where it says,
"So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them, male and female he created them."
If we were mere animals, we do not have much accountability. If, however, everybody realized that we were created in the image of God and choose to obey him, the world would not have been filled with all sorts of crime and lawlessness. The Big Bang Theory, that is also promoted as fact in Noah's Ark, similarly negates the biblical account of origin. Believing in something like the Big Bang requires more faith than believing in the Bible, but does not offer the reward of eternal life in a perfect world as Scripture does. The creation account gives us purpose and offers hope. If you're interested in the scientific basis of creation, you can refer to the work of Professor Veith and Dr. du Plessis in the video description. The Noah's Ark also has a section of the world of languages. And of course, that's where I did my PhD in is linguistics. So this is particularly interesting to me. Here I say a little bit about different cultures and different languages, but here in Hong Kong, language doesn't really focus on what it's supposed to. It's all about exams and language theory. But what is language all about if you think about it? It's really to communicate. So if you can communicate in a language, you're doing well. Not if you pass an exam in a language, but you can't have a conversation. So something very interesting to think about for people in Hong Kong. Are you comfortable speaking English? Can you pass an English exam? These two things don't always necessarily correlate. I've met a lot of students in Hong Kong. They can pass an exam in English, but they can't speak English. So which do you think is more important? To be able to speak a language or pass an exam on language theory? Here it says you can be an author too. What do you need to be an author? Maybe something else to think about. We're now entering Ma Wan Park, which is right opposite Noah's Ark, as you can see on the map. And here they also have the peace symbol.
We can hear a lot of birds, but we can't see them, unfortunately.
Yeah, we can hear the birds and the airplanes as well. I have to check on this side.
Yeah. Hopefully you can make a good use of your camera today.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of birds, but what do you think of Noah's Ark?
I would say it's actually a bit pricey to go into the place.
But considering it's the first replica of Noah's Ark, full scale, I guess it's a reasonable price.
Yes, I think what puts us off is like those silly music.
Yes. Yes, that's really something that you get rid of, playing like music for 3-year-olds outside the ark. It's better not to put any music, or if they want to play something, maybe play some bird sounds or a biblical message or something like that. But the ark itself is very impressive.
It's rather ironic. And at the same time, the ark is like there's a exhibition place which talk about evolution.
Yeah, so it shows again the syncretism, as we've had even in the Old Testament. So it's syncretism between what the Bible teaches and popular theory. They want to try and blend the two, and you can't really do that. You can't believe in the Bible and believe in evolution, because the Bible really teaches that everything was perfect, and then after the fall into sin, that's when the salvation plan came. And that's why death entered into this world, and of course that's when Christ came to redeem us. But if you believe in evolution, then the redemption plan doesn't make any sense. But let's go up here. It says there's an adventure journey, Riverside Garden, Hilltop Lookout, Australian Garden. There's even a windmill station. At the lookout point now, and you can get a very good view of this bridge leading to the airport, and you can also see some airplanes. There's one flying towards us right now. And that structure over there looks like the control tower. Very nice walk up here. Lots of birds, as you can probably hear in the background. Beautiful trees, flowers, lots of shrubs here. But it is rather slippery. So if you come here on a rainy day, do be careful that you don't fall and hurt yourself. It is a nice place to come and enjoy peace and quiet. Ironic in this park that's right opposite Noah's Ark, which is based on the biblical account, that they show here the formation of the earth took place more than 4.5 billion years ago, and then humans came much later, after dinosaurs. According to the biblical account, this doesn't make any sense, because humans and animals were both created at the same time. Both were created on the 6th day. And of course the difference is we as humans are in God's image. So once again, you cannot mix evolution and biblical teachings. It's either one or the other. Things either started by God speaking a word or by chance through evolution. So you've got to decide. Do you believe that things were designed by our Creator, or did everything start from a Big Bang? Think about this. So we'd be heading back now, but there's something else I want you to think about. There were a lot of mosquitoes in the park, and I'm going to react now to a mosquito biting me in 2 ways. I'm thinking about the fruit of the Spirit that are displayed in this park, patience being one of them. Which of these do you think would be the correct biblical way to react to a mosquito biting you? Ouch! Let's get out of here, there's a mosquito is biting me. It's the first way, or shall we do it like this? The mosquitoes are starting. I think we'd better head home, otherwise we're going to be full of mosquito bites. But still, it was a nice outing, despite the mosquitoes coming towards the end. But that's the way life is. You have to take the good with the bad. Especially if you consider we're living on a fallen planet where bad things will always happen. We've come to the end of our visit to Noah's Ark, and we're on our way back home. The bus just arrived. So thank you for joining us, and let us know what you think about Noah's Ark. Are you interested to visit it? And if you have any questions, please let us know in the comments. We'll see you in the next episode.